Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Laura. I'm a social worker and therapist. I am wanting to relaunch my channel and hope that I can help you manage this topsy-turvy time. It has been an adventure, and right now the world is taking a deep breath and letting go of all the negative energy, hoping it escapes. In previous videos, I had stated that the world would be getting better, but we are going to be experiencing unusual weather and people acting in hateful and dangerous ways. I want to say that it is important to always find some positive in the negative. I want to list some of the positive things that came out of the 45 presidency regarding the pandemic and other things. Yeah, there was good, and it laid the foundation for all the amazing changes that are going to be taking place in the world. I'm going to give you some positives. 1. He showed the amount of power that had been given to the executive branch over the years. We are now aware of those weaknesses and can remedy them with changes in laws that will make what he did much harder and add much more oversight to what the executive branch can do. The pandemic totally changed the idea of employer-based health care, and there is more of a push to provide health care for people so that they do not have to work in crappy jobs for insurance. This will allow more people to work for themselves or take chances perhaps that would improve their lives, knowing that they will not have to worry about a medical issue. Number 3, the pandemic tore the Band-Aid off of how little workers are paid and the glaring income inequality that exists, which makes it hard for the corporate and donor-funded lawmakers to feed us the line of how great trickle-down economics is. Corporations made record amounts of money, and they used it to enrich themselves. There are now a great many bills that address this issue, and now the lawmakers are focused on ending the tax holiday for the wealthiest people and companies by taxing them fairly, so that those companies that grew wealthier during the pandemic, while so many fell into poverty and homelessness. Number 4, people who used to donate to food pantries and might have wondered how people come to need those services suddenly had to use those same pantries. It once again shined a spotlight on how just a couple of missed paychecks could land a person or family in need of charitable services. The photos of people waiting for hours in food lines encourage people to start taking a more focused interest in just who is representing us in the Congress and the House. Their quest to not give an inch and, be stingy with food stamps. And in another video, I'll explain actually how the food stamp formula was created and then cut back terribly during the Reagan years. The horrible and quiet part of the GOP, this is number 6, was now in full view, and we the people are disgusted. They showed us who they were, and we now believe them and have decided as a nation they have to be voted out. Therefore, more people are engaged in our election process, whereas before, it was a vote, I'll vote. No, now we want to know who the dog catcher is and up the line. And we're also going to work to get more working class lawmakers. That's a really important thing. Why do we believe that the wealthy people are somehow much better than we are with money? Most of it's inherited, or they've done something illegal to get it. So we need more of the working class people to decide to run, because you know best what's good for your neighborhood, you know best what's good for your town, you know what the issues are, and you should vote from within. It's kind of like a community nepotism. And there is support. So we should stop getting these lawmakers that are funded by corporations and only elect people who are being funded by the people. That's a really important thing, because in that way they're beholden to us and not the corporation or the donor class. Number 7, those radical ideas that Bernie Sanders had are now mainstream. and lawmakers are working to make them a reality. So what was seen as crazy and unacceptable, this pandemic and the failure to manage it brought out all of these things to the face. And we were like, you know what? He's right. Number 8, climate change is taking much more seriously due to the horrible weather events that were experienced in Texas, and a real effort is underway to fix our infrastructure. And then number 9, due to the pandemic, the earth rid itself of the toxic gases that had built up, and the flora and fauna of our world went back to their natural rhythms. This only showed proof that we as humans are causing the actual damage to this earth, and people have had enough and want to take these problems seriously. Because it was right there, the science was there. They showed the emissions went down, the carbon emissions in the earth. The animals were behaving. Some animals emerged from wherever they were hiding because all of a sudden the world stood still and the flora and fauna became much more compatible. So there's science there, just looking at it. So that's good. And then 10, all of the people in the previous administration who had hopes of becoming a candidate in 2024 are out of luck. So we know that they're not acceptable to even run. Some of them will. I mean, they have that much hubris, but they're not going to be able to do that. And the bottom line is we are going to have to go through some growing pains. We are the people that historians will be looking at in the future to get a sense of how their much better future world was sacrificed and fought for during this time, just as we look back to times past to the Revolutionary War to see how fights were staged and fought for to get what we have today. But sadly, we are going to see a lot more gun deaths and mass shootings, crazy and destructive weather events, and an increase in earthquakes, fires, floods, and other natural disasters, because all this energy has been building up and it's got to go somewhere. And I've said it before, the earth is a living, breathing organism, and it's going to protect itself. It has been sending us signals for years, and we have chosen to ignore it. So it fought back. The previous administration was filled with horrible and repugnant people, but we had to have all of what we knew torn down and exposed. These people will not be getting away with their crimes either. It is going to take some time, and we have to remember the Biden administration is settling into their new roles. But I can assure you that during 45's time, there was nothing that they did that was not recorded and documented. I am sure, and I feel this way, the new DOJ, Merrick Garland, had a stream of lawyers giving him evidence and documentation that showed just how corrupt the former administration was. The GOP is going to regret not putting Merrick Garland on the court. So we can go back. I can go back to an example in 2017. A small news report came out. I think it disappeared within a day or so. That Jared Kushner was talking with the Saudi Prince MBS on WhatsApp or another of those channels that's supposed to delete your conversation. Well, as soon as that was reported, I sat back for a second and said they just let him know that they were monitoring him. Because it was a shot across the bow that you better watch what you're doing because we're watching you. And I am sure his arrogance and thinking he could get away with anything didn't connect in his mind, because for so long these people have gone without any accountability for all the horrible things they've done. The Washington hotel 45 owns was most likely surveilled with cameras and microphones, probably not from only our country, but there were other monitoring equipment, and none of them would be aware of it because I've worked for the federal government, and since these people were so arrogant in thinking they were they probably took no interest in mid-level intelligence officers who were probably tasked with gathering all the records and evidence during the 4 years the 45 crime family was fleecing the taxpayers. They are going to be held accountable, and it is going to be great for us. I do see Jared getting thrown under the bus by everybody and potentially going to jail. the family is all in Florida. And Florida has forfeiture laws that protect a primary residence from being taken away. So if they live in their $30 million land, I don't believe it can be liened or repossessed if it is a primary, like you need somewhere to live, so they can't take it. So I guess they're doing that. And I'm sure it's going to cost them most of what they have to defend themselves. I also believe that Bill Barr left at the end of December because he knew about the January 6th attack and he was not going to be a part of any of that. 45 supporters are going to peel away from him. A lot of them have been arrested and are now going to jail. Others had their bank accounts drained because they did not opt out of a scheme that allowed the processing company of the RNC to take money out of bank accounts every week and even double the contributions to the tune of millions of dollars that had to be returned. I mean, a gentleman here in Kansas City was on hospice and his bank account was just drained. The opt-out paragraphs were located in the middle of a long and wordy user agreement. And as an aside, you should always read the fine print of those apps and agreements because they give them an awful amount of free range on what they can sell, what they can't sell. Like you're agreeing that they can sell your information, your cell phone, any information from the apps, and you've not either checked or unchecked the box. So you really should read those. There's another thing that in doing some volunteer work, I've been talking with some people just for check-ins. And there are a lot of people who fear that the vaccine will be used to track a person. And they don't need to do that. Our phones do that already. And to tell you, I mean, that's what they do. You know, if you lose your phone, you go to a laptop or another computer and go, where's my phone? And if you notice, it will ping every single place you are and let you know exactly where your phone is. So we already have a tracking device. And then, because how did the Capitol terrorists think they were caught? Like they were just so surprised the FBI showed up. Well, it was through their video, their camera apps. And what I'm going to do at the end of my videos now, just to kind of make it a little lighter and fun. In addition, my previous videos explained what you could do to kind of be mindful or settle yourself, or if you find yourself just spinning your wheels a bit, the small exercises, and I will add more. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to shuffle a deck. I'm going to pick 3 cards from the, it's backwards, the Archangel Power cards by Radley Valentine. They're the angels, and they're just a message. So what I did before the video was I did shuffle the deck. I have it in 3 piles. I'm not going to shuffle it on camera because there are certain people who have audio sensitivity and the sound of the cards shuffling. Sometimes if the sound is it's an irritant and a bother, and that is not the purpose of my channels. So I'm going to take the 3 cards, and what I'd like you to do, this is 2, this is 3, so this is 1, 2, and 3. And what I'd like you to do is just take a few deep breaths and think about which card you're drawn to. Again, this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. We'll take the breath. Okay. For the people who chose 1, you got the Queen of Gabriella. And your message is you can do anything right now. Go after what you want. The ability to attract helpful people. So if you were thinking about doing something or hooking up online with potential avenues, the Queen of Gabriel is the ability to attract helpful people is present right now. For those of you who chose number 2, you've got the Wheel. which is basically destiny, your karmic destiny and other decks. So this is Archangel Jeremiah. And new beginnings, end of delays, a change in direction that offers happiness. So for if you were looking to change, and or maybe you were considering doing something, this is your card, and that's your message. And for those who chose number 3, you've got the 6 of Ariel. And that's what this card looks like. And her message is material needs get fulfilled in magical and unexpected ways. Acts of kindness, giving or receiving with a grateful heart. And, you know, throughout this pandemic, I've been very surprised at just the amount of people who've opened their hearts, their doors, their wallets, just to help each other, just to help, you know, because in certain ways during the previous year, the government failed. They were not able to provide us with stuff. So there were so many people who stood up, stepped out, helped others in need, and really brought out another level of humanity, which was really nice to see. I hope those messages were kind of fun. And please remember to look at my other videos for ideas to take a quick break from all the noise. Please be kind to yourself and others. Continue masking, distancing, and washing your hands. This is going to be getting better. Every day it's getting better. But it is going to be rough for a bit. But those who have had power for so long are fighting the changing attitudes. They don't know what to do. What they've said and told us is no longer true. We're not buying it. We're demanding that our way be heard and acted upon. And if you like the video, I would ask you to like, subscribe, and share these videos. It's my goal to make a difference to one person and be of service to others. You can also send me an email with ideas, comments, or suggestions for a topic to me at starfishmsw@gmail.com. STARFISHMSW, which does stand for Master Social Worker, @gmail.com. I thank you and wish you the brightest of blessings for everything wonderful. Thank you.